My name's Jack. I'm just over 24 hours into the fasting. I did a day of water fasting while I was traveling, and I knew I would want to shower after almost 24 hours of traveling, so that was my last contact with water. I've been very tired so far. I was told I shouldn't say this, but I've been sleeping a lot. Um, the reason I came was for Lyme's disease. I got it about 5 years ago. I got the positive test for it when I was 19, but I think I had it before then. And I've done 3 or 4 times really heavy doses of antibiotics, and they've helped when I've taken them. I feel better, but obviously it's a bit concerning to be on them for a long time. And whenever I stopped taking them after 2 or 3 months, all the symptoms would just come back every time, no matter how many I took, and I took a lot. A couple years ago, I fasted on my own, 5 days with water and some herbs that I knew were supposed to be good to fight Lyme's disease, and I felt better than I'd felt in years after doing that. So that got me really interested in fasting. And then just like 5 or 6 months ago, I went to another retreat in Costa Rica that was water fasting, and I did 16 days there. And afterwards, I really didn't feel that much better at all, which is what has led me here. So, yeah, I think that's everything for now. This is day 2 of the retreat, working towards 3 days of fasting. I was feeling pretty de-energized this morning, lacking motivation. Time's been moving very slow. I swear I could be 5 days in now, but it's only 3. This afternoon I've been feeling a little bit better and just a little bit more at peace and able to appreciate the quiet time by the ocean. It's a good place to be to do this. So I'm hoping I have some more of that outlook going forward. This is day 4 of dry fasting, day 3 of the retreat. I've been really tired today, really lightheaded. I haven't walked at all. I went to the lecture and was barely keeping my head up, I felt like, and just looking over at the drink cooler the whole time. Yeah, I've thought a lot about stopping, but then Doctor Filonov was saying that only 5 days until you start to kill bacteria in the intestine. So 4 days now. This is the longest I've ever gone. So that's right around the corner. And when I think about it, I feel fine. I have all my senses intact, and I don't feel like I'm dying or anything. It's just, the mouth and the lightheadedness mainly. But yeah, grateful to have the support that I do have from family and friends back home. Some people were less open to the idea than others, but across the board, everyone was supportive that it was, something like I felt like I had to do to get myself better. So I feel fortunate about that. This is day 4 of the retreat, day 5 of my dry fasting. This is officially the longest I've ever gone. I was having strange pains in my stomach last night. Like, I don't know how to describe it. A little bit of nausea as well. So I ended up getting my first ice bag, and that helped just to sort of distract, give me a new sensation, and give sort of the illusion of hydration. You can hear the water clinking around with the ice a little bit. And still been pretty tired today. Can't say that I've ever really felt well at all throughout this whole process, but it's been manageable. Talking with other people helps, even though, of course, you have to not do too much of that. I've gotten to a point this afternoon where the rest of the fast, the 5 or so days that I have left, seems manageable, comprehensible. But at the same time, it's also important to just take it day by day. It's nice to have the schedule, the lectures, these testimonials, the treatments, and parcel it up almost more hour by hour than day by day, because I did a longer water fast also, and even compared to that, time is moving incredibly slow. Like, it's unbelievable. But feeling renewed motivation once again, and happy to check this testimonial off the list. Signing off for another day. This is day 5 of the retreat, day 6 of dry fasting for me. This morning I woke up feeling stronger than I have in the past couple days. Usually it's been taking me hours until the afternoon until I feel good enough to even go for a walk, but I went for a couple walks first thing this morning, and I felt tired afterwards, so I laid down, got a little nap in. But overall, the process is starting to just feel more serious to me. Like, I've done a fair amount of just distracting myself up until this point, just trying to bide the time, which I think there's always going to be a little bit of that. I mean, unless you're like a monk or something and meditating all day, which I'm not quite there yet, but it's gotten to a point where it's like it's harder to distract myself with anything. I kind of have to be as much a part of the process as possible. So I've been journaling more, which is something I do pretty regularly, but the first 4 or 5 days, that just the thought of doing that seemed disgusting to me. It was like repulsive, but now I'm okay with just sort of cataloging my thoughts a little bit more, maybe partly because the end seems more attainable at this point. Got in a good cry just a few minutes ago, and I feel like I'm breathing better already. It's interesting to think about the comparison between this and a longer water fast I did maybe 6 months ago. I didn't really get emotional at all, which is kind of what I'm referring to when I'm talking about it's gotten to a more serious breaking point, you know. I'm fully in it now, and excited, and also I guess a little nervous to see what the next few days have to bring. This is day 6 of the retreat and day 7 of my dry fast. It's hard to talk right now because my ear has been getting blocked up and I can't even tell how loud I'm talking, but this seems to be the right volume. Last night was a strange night of sleep. I got in maybe 6 hours, but never for more than really an hour in a row, and I just sort of felt this underlying pervasive anxiety throughout it. I would call it like my body is just kind of in survival mode maybe, and there's just this nagging in my head and mind and body throughout the whole night of like, you have to stay awake. You've got to find water or something. So I could never fully calm all the way down, although I did get some rest. Another strange thing that happened is I've sprained this wrist a couple times, and it hasn't bothered me for a year or two. I can't remember exactly when it happened, but last night I got like the pain of when that injury happened from the index finger up to like the forearm. Yeah, it's day 7, so definitely not quite there yet, but the end is in sight. I feel like I had more things I wanted to say, but I guess that's it for now. This is day 7 of the retreat and day 8 of my dry fast. I've been having some doubts about going the full 9 days, and I'm gonna talk with Dr. Filonov about that later on, although my assumption is that he's just gonna tell me to keep going and that it's in my head. The night times have been really anxious for me. Like, I'm sleeping some, but even when I'm asleep, it feels like I'm awake. And there's just like this nagging always in the back of my mind, like this anxiety or this kind of dread. And I was freezing cold just like an hour ago, had to leave the lecture and get under my blankets in bed, to now my head feels really hot. In certain ways, I've felt stronger as the fast has gone on. Like, I was really lightheaded and dizzy in the beginning, but this morning I went for the longest walk that I've been on so far, across to Petrovac and back, first thing early in the morning. So that's it. This is day 8 of the retreat. I exited from my dry fast this morning after doing 8 full days instead of the 9. I was obviously a bit conflicted about that choice, but it sort of came down to physically, I knew it was possible to continue. I didn't think I was going to have any serious complications, but I was just having like this really bad anxiety, like something bad was going to happen. And I talked with some other people at the retreat here who said that they had felt comforted being here around other people, seeing other people go for longer amounts of time, and that anxiety never came up for them, which I was certainly helped quite a bit by being around other people who have gone such distances. But I couldn't, the last 2 days or so of the fast, maybe 36 hours, I couldn't get rid of this sort of dread and anxiety. So after a good phone call with my mom and a lot of tears, and I decided to come out of it this morning. And I feel fine about my decision. I feel good about my decision. There's no reason to think about, oh, what would have been slightly different if I had gone one more day or not. I can't say I feel especially well right now. I mean, it was really incredible to have water again and take a hot shower. But I've been pretty sort of spacey and tired and sore also since drinking. I mean, I was sore throughout the whole fast, but I can almost like feel some sort of edema or just more inflammation as soon as I started drinking again. But I'm just riding out the process and seeing what changes as my body continues to rebuild after a pretty intense 8 days, some of the most intense 8 days of my life probably. So yeah, just curious to see what changes and to get some real rest. Looking forward to that. Day 10 of the retreat, day 3 of the exit. I missed the testimonial yesterday. I was just really tired and ended up being in bed for most of the day, most of the past 2 days, I guess. I have been having, I guess this is a common experience for a lot of people, but exacerbation of my symptoms from before, like inflammation in my joints and cracking and brain fog, like those things in the morning time especially, which has been true for me for a long time, that those symptoms are a lot worse in the morning, and they've been even more so. And so I was kind of down in the dumps and upset about that, but after listening to a couple of lectures and talking with other people here, I understand better that that's a pretty common experience. You have to, the only way out is through. The only way out is through by, testing or experiencing the full limits of the pain or the symptoms. I'm rambling a little bit. Maybe I had too many oranges and my brain's all fired up. But the main thing that I want to get across is that I'm ready to be just patient at this point and see what results come, because that's something that we've had drilled into us a lot here, is like, you gotta wait at least 3 weeks, at least 2 months even, to even tell what transformations your body has gone throughout this process. So I'm trying to not get ahead of myself and just be curious about what results may come. And I do really feel better equipped going forward with all the tools that we've learned here in terms of fasting on my own for short or long periods of time. And yeah, just hopeful overall, because I've seen and met other people here who have almost completely fixed their illnesses, and I've seen it firsthand now, when before it's only been a distant concept. I know it's well within anyone's capabilities. Like, there's no reason that my body wouldn't be able to achieve that same level of healing. We all have that inside of us, and it's a nice concept for sure, and one that's easy to forget, because you want to just fall back on and rely on old methods or antibiotics or whatever it is. But it just takes a lot of determination, and you gotta try again and again, because what else are you gonna do?